See, okay, so now you're
I'm just saying, Gen Z.
Now you're talking badly about America. How dare you do that? I think it's a great country.
No, I said ask Gen Z.
Well, would Gen Z rather live in America or Somalia?
I'm just saying the American dream is harder to realize. The value of the dollar has gone down so much.
I know.
They don't see the ability to ever own a home, possibly.
Right.
It's a much bigger hill to climb than it was for all of us.
And that's your right to say.
No one's saying it's not. You're trying to turn this into a bullshit argument that doesn't exist.
I'm not trying to turn it into a bullshit argument. It is a bullshit argument.
No, it isn't.
You're basically saying if you're from Somalia, you can't bitch about what's wrong in America.
But I didn't say you can't. Straw man didn't come to the show, Joe. Straw man. No, I didn't say that either.
Okay.
You're just like having a fight with your wife, which I don't even have.
Bill Maher had a fiery showdown with Joe Scarborough over the weekend, and it was savage. The real-time host accused Scarborough of twisting his words, and true to form, Maher wasn't holding back. The clash ended with Scarborough retreating to MSNBC, clearly rattled. As always, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and let's get
something terrible among his things he said about Ilhan Omar, and I'm not going to have the quote in front of me, but basically what it was is she comes here and all she does is complain and bitch. Okay, there is something. There is a kernel of truth in that somebody comes from a country like Somalia, and then it just seems like she does not have any perspective on the country that she joined here, and never seems to have anything good to say.
We don't think that way
about America.
The second she came here, my family's probably been here for 400 years. The day she came to America and raised her hand and took the oath, she's every bit as much of an American as you are, or me.
And I would say this of every other American. Have some perspective.
She has just as much right as Donald Trump or any of the billionaires in his administration.
We're not talking about rights, Joe. I'm not saying she didn't have any right. I'm saying have some perspective about this country versus a country like Somalia.
Right.
To it. Maher's right. Ilhan Omar, like any other American, has every right to express herself. But she also needs to show a bit of perspective about the country she represents. America may not be perfect, far from it, but Maher's point is about recognizing the freedoms and opportunities that come with American citizenship while still allowing room for criticism. That's all Maher is asking. A basic appreciation for the opportunities and freedoms she now enjoys. Joe Scarborough, meanwhile, frames the debate around Omar's rights. But that's not Maher's point. Maher isn't denying her freedom of speech. She's questioning the tone and context of her criticism. Since becoming a citizen, Omar has repeatedly aired grievances about America's flaws, sometimes in stark terms. Maher's argument is simple. Yes, you can criticize, but do so with perspective, recognize the privileges and freedoms you enjoy, and temper your complaints with a dose of gratitude.
Are you saying she shouldn't complain about America?
I didn't say that. You're saying that.
No, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, have some perspective about this country, not just her, but yes, I mean, if she's from a country like Somalia, which is a country you wouldn't live in.
Right.
Okay. Well, just be honest about it. Instead of, it just seems like it's always completely negative about this country. It also sometimes seems like we have...
I agree. Say something positive.
Say something
say how
realistic
thankful you are to be here. Yes, I agree with that.
Well, I could say this.
Everyone has free speech, and all of us can complain, but be grateful.
Well, I can.
Even Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees with Maher. Ilhan Omar needs to show at least some realistic appreciation for the freedoms and opportunities she now enjoys as an American citizen. It's really that simple. Recognizing what America offers, flaws and all, doesn't negate her right to criticize the country, but it does demand perspective. You'd think that this idea, straightforward and factual, would be easy for everyone to accept, yet Joe Scarborough clearly doesn't see it that way. Scarborough jumped into the fray, ready to defend Omar and challenge Maher, refusing to back down without a fight. The clash highlights a key divide. One side argues for honest, grounded recognition of the privileges of citizenship, while the other frames the debate as a question of rights alone. Maher's point is not about silencing criticism, it's about insisting on perspective, gratitude, and a bit of common sense in public discourse.
Same thing about Republicans over the past decade. All they've done is bitched and moaned about how horrible this country was when we're the most powerful country on the planet. We have the most powerful military, the most
that's
powerful
when they're
economy.
out of power. is a horrible country.
But here's the thing.
As soon as they take office, we're the perfect country.
But when they're at a tower, what do? Donald Trump talks about how the American dream is dead. No, it's not. That's bullshit. The American dream's not dead. We're stronger militarily. We're stronger economically. We're stronger culturally. We're stronger with soft power. We're stronger in every single way.
I don't know about...
That's exactly the problem with certain media commentators. The moment they're challenged, they scramble to find a comparable issue on the right and use it as a shield. Take Ilhan Omar, for example. When Maher called her out for her repeated lack of proper perspective about America, Joe Scarborough immediately jumped in to defend her, pointing to Donald Trump's own criticisms of the country, as if that made her behavior acceptable. But here's the key difference. Trump, despite his rhetoric, has praised America on numerous occasions, even during Biden's presidency. Ilhan Omar, on the other hand, has rarely, if ever, shown that same acknowledgement or gratitude for the freedoms and opportunities she now enjoys. The point isn't about silencing criticism, it's about fairness, perspective, and recognizing the privileges of citizenship. Criticism without perspective is just complaining, and Scarborough's comparison misses that entirely.
See, okay, so now you're talking badly about America. How dare you do that? I think it's a great country.
No, I said ask Gen Z.
Well, would Gen Z rather live in America or Somalia?
I'm just saying the American dream is harder to realize. The value of the dollar has gone down so much.
I know.
They don't see the ability to ever own a home, possibly.
Right.
It's a much bigger hill to climb than it was for all of us.
And that's your right to say.
No one's saying it's not. You're trying to turn this into a bullshit argument that doesn't exist.
I'm not trying to turn it into a bullshit argument. It is a bullshit argument.
No, it isn't.
You're basically saying if you're from Somalia, you can't bitch about what's wrong with America.
But I didn't say you can't. Straw man didn't come to the show, Joe. Straw man. No, I didn't say that either.
Okay.
It's just like having a fight with your wife, which I don't even have.
Here, I genuinely think Joe Scarborough realized he completely goofed by strawmanning Bill Maher's argument, but as usual, he doesn't want to admit it. Maher never denied Ilhan Omar's right to criticize America. He simply asked for some perspective and basic appreciation for the freedoms she now enjoys. Scarborough, instead of addressing that, twisted Maher's point to make it seem extreme. I'm not surprised by this at all, because it's a familiar pattern in partisan media debates. Time and again, they misrepresent conservative arguments, exaggerate them, and then paint them as something they're not. We saw it vividly with Trump before the 2024 elections. Scarborough and others demonized him repeatedly, only for those attacks to backfire spectacularly. This same playbook is being used now. Deflect, distort, and distract rather than engage honestly. Maher, as always, isn't having it, and Scarborough is left flailing.
I said have some perspective.
Have some perspective.
So
that's it. And I would say it to anybody.
That's right.
If you're from
everybody,
I would say that to the Republican Party that says the American dream.
I would too.
Good for you.
Of course.
We agree about this. So why are you yelling?
Because
Why not?
because I don't like when people put words in my mouth. That's why.
I did not do that.
You did it over and over again. I could show the tape.
Show me the tape. Show it to me.
So Scarborough continues to insist that he didn't put words in Bill Maher's mouth, but anyone who watched the tape can see exactly what happened. Maher simply called for Ilhan Omar to have some perspective, acknowledging the freedoms and opportunities she enjoys as an American, yet Scarborough somehow twisted that into an argument that she has no rights at all. It's a classic case of misrepresentation, turning a reasonable, measured point into something extreme that it was never meant to be. The decent and straightforward thing Scarborough could have done was to admit that he misunderstood Maher and misrepresented his argument. A simple acknowledgement of the mistake would have sufficed, showing fairness and honesty. But true to form, he didn't. Instead, he doubled down, trying to defend the misrepresentation, which only highlights how some commentators on the left prioritize winning an argument over being accurate or fair.
And knocking them down and setting next to you, knocking them down. I wanted to tell everybody here, as you're talking about dealing with people who think differently than you, I was telling Marjorie the story about when we first met. And I'd love, since they saw that last little thing that I did, I'd love to just say, for those, everybody here probably doesn't know it, but I was here, 96, 97?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well,
and
the old show.
The old show.
Incorrect.
Politically incorrect.
Wait, did Joe Scarborough just admit that he had been straw-manning Bill Maher? Really? After all the back and forth and public debate, it apparently took him this long to finally acknowledge that he misrepresented Maher's argument. To be fair, it does show at least a small measure of decency and honesty, qualities that seem increasingly rare in today's media landscape. But it also raises a bigger question. What about his colleagues on the left who rarely, if ever, admit to their mistakes? What about the broader woke crowd, quick to point fingers and call out perceived offenses, but slow to own up when they distort the facts themselves? Scarborough's admission is a reminder that accountability matters, even if it comes late. If more people embrace that mindset, public discourse might actually improve, instead of devolving into endless shouting matches and misrepresentation.
They arrested Don Lemon. Somebody went, yes, like good. I don't know. I
didn't hear that.
It's not good to arrest him. I don't, you know.
Well, I'm going to say he violated the FACE Act. He went into a church, disrupted their worship, and then later in an interview compared them to white supremacists. That's not journalism. That's activism. I had an experience with Don Lemon.
So, the issue of Don Lemon also came up, and it was genuinely surprising to see Marjorie Taylor Greene stepping in to defend the government. In an unexpected twist, she even cited the FACE Act, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which gives law enforcement the authority to intervene when someone disrupts a church service or similar protected space. Greene pointed out that under this law, police had every right to arrest Don Lemon for his actions when he disrupted a church service. Her defense of the law caught many off guard, given her usual political stance, but it also highlighted a key principle. Rules and accountability apply to everyone, regardless of political alignment. The episode sparked a broader discussion about the balance between free speech, protest, and the protection of sacred spaces. It's a rare moment where legal precedent and public discourse collided in real time, forcing even critics to take notice.
South, I was conservative, I was a Southern Baptist, and somebody on your show called me a racist and a bigot. And of course, at that time, 99.9% of your audience was really left-wing. There would always be one guy with a NASCAR shirt that would be the one guy that cheered for me. But you stood up for me, and I've never forgotten it. And you said, hold on a second. The only bigot I see here is, and you pointed to the comedian who was trying to get a cheap laugh. I mean, and I've never forgotten that 35 years later.
From this clip, it's clear that Joe Scarborough has effectively conceded defeat. For once, he's admitting what was obvious to everyone watching. He put words in Bill Maher's mouth, twisting a straightforward call for perspective into something it never was. This admission marks a rare moment of accountability in a media landscape where many commentators double down instead of owning their mistakes. Not just a personal loss for Scarborough, it's a reminder that honesty and fairness matter, even in heated debates. After this exchange, he's going to retreat back to his studios, tail between his legs, likely hoping to regroup and avoid further scrutiny. Meanwhile, Maher emerges unscathed, having made his point clearly and without distortion. This clip is more than just a moment of drama. It's a small but meaningful example of calling out misrepresentation and insisting on perspective, showing viewers that integrity still counts, even when the stakes are high.
Announced he was moving a huge armada to the Middle East. And he also said we have something called a discombobulator.
Yeah, heard about that. I think the people in Venezuela found out about that as well.
The discombobulator?
Apparently they did.
Yeah. What is a discombobulator?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
But we have one.
At the heart of all these exchanges is one simple idea: perspective matters. Bill Maher isn't denying anyone their right to criticize America, but he consistently calls out those who fail to recognize the freedoms and opportunities they now enjoy. Ilhan Omar, for example, has repeatedly criticized the country since becoming a citizen, and Maher's argument is straightforward: acknowledge what America offers while voicing your concerns. Yet, commentators like Joe Scarborough twist these arguments, turning a measured call for perspective into claims that rights are being denied. This pattern of misrepresentation has become common in highly partisan media debates, where opposing arguments are often strawmanned instead of addressed directly. Even when Scarborough finally admits his error, it takes him far too long, highlighting the rarity of honesty in today's media. Meanwhile, moments like Marjorie Taylor Greene citing the FACE Act to defend legal accountability show that fairness and adherence to rules should transcend politics. Ultimately, these debates underscore the need for balance. Criticize when necessary, but do so with perspective, integrity, and a recognition of the privileges we all enjoy as citizens.